Maps and Meta-Analysis. This is Folsom.
Facts.
And faces.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Folsom Facts and Faces. We are joined this week by candidate Gul Khan. So, Gul, if you don't mind kicking us off, could you please just say a little bit about yourself, why you're running for this position, and then what position specifically it is, what district?
Thank you for having me. My name is Gul Khan, as probably most of the Folsom now knows me. I am an IT professional by profession. That's my day job. I run an IT company. I have a master's degree in computer science and bioinformatics. And I moved to Folsom about 15 years ago from Columbus, Ohio. I was there in Columbus, Ohio. My kids were born over there. And then I moved here to Folsom, moved to California, and then Folsom was my first city of choice. Since then, I've been here. I always say that we moved to Folsom pretty much for the same reason most of the people move here. We have a great school, great outdoor activities, parks, trails, and above all, the safety and security of our families and the kids. That's more important. And the environment overall, the Folsom, all the residents and the community is been really, really tremendous, very accommodating. When I moved here, I had no plan to actually run for any kind of an office. I was a typical an IT professional project manager who used to work for HP, Hewlett Packard. And I actually moved here because HP was doing a big project of California DMV overhaul. So if you guys live in California or have a license here in California or you drive a car here in California, the system that DMV uses, that is the system that I designed. I designed California DMV, Michigan DMV, and Vermont DMV systems. When I moved here, I have all my life, I've been very much in the mode of giving back to the society, and that's exactly what my motto has been, that if you live somewhere, this society, this community has given you too much, and it's better that you, instead of just being a consumer of that one, you should give something back to the society as well. And that has been my motto that I've been teaching to my kids as well. That's exactly how I trained them. And I've been volunteering since then at different capacities. I was I was a volunteer with the Folsom Fire Department as first responder with Folsom CERT. I'm still member of a Folsom High School Site Safety Committee, where we make sure that the school security and safety is ensured and all the kids are safe and sound. And I'm also participating in a lot of initiatives of homeless shelters, homeless feed the hungry programs, and encourage other activities as well. I'm also running a youth program where we are trying to mobilize the youth and making sure that they are participating in different activities, including becoming member of the society in different kind of committees and different programs they run. So this is pretty much that I've been doing. Over the past 5 years or so, I have noticed that Folsom has not been able to make that progress which we used to have. And I noticed that we are pretty much, we are very stagnant, we're living very stagnant life. And then Folsom has been having the same problem that we have been facing in other areas of California, but Folsom has started this has started impacting our quality of life. Safety and security is the most important one. We have a homelessness. We are also having a lot of issue of where the job growth and the economic development is not happening in Folsom. About 80% of the people who are working in Folsom, they're coming from outside Folsom. Why? Because they cannot afford to live here in Folsom. About 70 to 80% of the people who are living here, they go outside Folsom and work elsewhere. Why? Because Folsom does not have that kind of a job. We have one big employer, which is Intel. We have Folsom Prison, and then we have close to Folsom, that is the Blue Shield of California. These are the big employers we have, among the others. Now, these employers are the ones that we are relying on for everything. But we cannot just rely on one or two. One or two employers. We cannot put all our eggs in one basket. We need to have a continuous economic development before so that we don't have a risk of one employer shutting down their site, and then the half of the Folsom becomes homeless or the jobless. Sorry, my bad. So that's a problem that we don't want to see. I have seen this situation in Flint, Michigan, when General Motors decided to discontinue Pontiac as their brand, and I've seen that city going down, really down the drain. I don't want to see that here in Folsom. That was the reason why I decided to I can run and I can contribute, because I have about 18 years of state and local government experience. I know how the government works. I know how the business works. That was the reason why I can bring all these qualities and experience to the table to run the city.
Thank you, Gul. Appreciate that. I mean, it's very clear, that you're contributing a lot to the city of Folsom already through, all these different these organizations and the different services that you've been, participating in. And you might have already answered this question through that, but I want to kind of ask it again so you can, restate it. But I was curious why a position on the city council is the right position for you and what you want to accomplish, or to kind of think of it a different way, what will this position allow you to do that you couldn't do otherwise in these other avenues?
Okay, I'm glad that you asked me this question, because this is I first of all, this is the same exact question that I asked myself. Why do I need to go through this whole process of getting myself elected and convince people that I can do better when I'm in the council, rather than the things that I cannot do when I outside the council? I'll give you a few examples. We have in Folsom, we are talking about we are facing about a fiscal deficit. We are talking about structural deficit of about $5.25 million. And the answer we have is to increase the sales tax by 1%. And I'm not saying that they have a bad intention to that one. The sales tax is needed because we are in that fiscal dilemma right now. But nobody's asking this one question, that how did we get here? What went wrong? I had my YouTube video as well a few days ago, that actually I asked the same questions. People in the council are not really asking those tough questions. How did the Folsom, the city of Folsom has an average income of about $150,000, can go down and go into the fiscal deficit? That is number one. We don't know how to generate more revenue streams. Number two, we have not learned how to live within our own means. These are the two major issues that we have. We heard that one of the reason is that the Amazon effect, which means that after the COVID, people started doing online shopping. And that's exactly my point. Online shopping is a reality. If we don't accept that reality, we are doomed. We have to adapt ourselves and accept those realities, and we should have those solutions for those realities. If we think that we're gonna go back to the people and ask them, hey, please stop shopping online and start shopping local, yes, maybe 1%, 2%, or maybe 10% people will go back to that habit, but about 90% of the people are not gonna change their habits. Whatever they have learned, it's very difficult to unlearn that. You might have heard this quote many times, that the most difficult task is to unlearn rather than learning something new. So that unlearn is the most difficult task. I don't think so people are going to go back to saying that, okay, we'll stop shopping online and we will go only shop local. And so we should have, as a council member, we should have anticipated that, and that this is going to happen eventually. It's not just the COVID effect. It's COVID just expedited that whole thing. But this was coming in anyway. Amazon was going to grow anyway. eBay and other online stores were going to grow anyway. We have to do two things. Number one is that we need to, as a council member, I will be able to go to the county. I'll be able to go to the state and ask for our fair share of our sales tax. Right now, the online shopping is not really, we are not getting all our revenue that we are supposed to get. in terms of sales tax. And that is a big issue. So why can't we just, they can change the formula to based off of the zip code where this any item is delivered, and based on that they can charge the sales tax, and then they can give that sales tax to that particular city or state. And that's something that only the person who can do is this whole thing is who has experience working with the government, who knows how to really navigate within the government. uh, in our current council that we have, and they all are great people, they have great intentions, but I believe they have their own experiences only in within their certain range. They have experience of running their own small businesses, which is great. That is very important for our local business growth, but they don't have experience how to navigate within the government. I have about 18 years of experience navigating within the government, and that's exactly which basically gives me an edge over my two opponents, because both of them, they don't have experience working at the breadth of all the government agencies. They have experience working in only in one area of government. This is just one example I gave you. That was the reason why I feel that when I'll be the council member, I'll be able to do it, and which I would not be able to do this whole thing if I'm sitting outside.
All right, thank you for that. Turning now a little bit to your current campaign, from your perspective, what do you feel like has been your biggest challenges so far?
The biggest challenge right now, there are people have been asking, and they've been worried about few things. They're asking me that you are not supported by any of the special interest, or AKA, I call them special interest, but they can not by any PACs. So that how do you think that you will still be able to win despite the fact that you have not been supported by the PACs? Other things people ask me that one of the biggest challenge that I have is that I am running my campaign at the grassroots level. Whereas people think that, oh, you should have the big endorsements right in the beginning, and then you can easily go and do it. And my answer to that one has always been two things. Number one, look at my financial statements that I have released. So far, we have released 3 financial statements as per the FPPC regulations and the city regulations. I have raised more money than both of my opponents, and every single penny came from in that financial statement has been declared that every single penny raised was at the grassroots level. I literally go door to door, met with the people. I asked them for the contribution, and I told them that I'm not supported by any PAC. I'm not supported by any special interest. Recently, that we have seen people have been running the smear campaigns against each other. Both of my opponents, they've been running the smear campaigns against each other online. You must have seen it. And people say that, why don't you just take advantage and you also start jumping and then start running those kind of things? And I always say that, no, that's not my style. That does not align with my values. My values have been to provide you what I can do for the city, what my values are, what my capabilities are, and what I bring to the table. And then I'll let the voters decide exactly what they want. If they think that they want change in the current council, how the current council is working, how the city is being run, if they think they want change or they don't want to change, if they are happy with the way it is already, the way the city is being run, I don't think so I'll be the right candidate for that. Because if I'm on the council, I will be looking for some changes. I'll be looking for some fiscal responsibility. I'll be looking for something that we need to do some effort to do the job growth, economic development of the city. Well, I would be looking for some solutions for the homelessness. I'll be looking for to hire more police officers to make sure that our kids and our families are safe, because that is the thing that is, to me, is very near and dear. If we are not paying attention to those, we are going to lose our quality of life, and that is the main essence of Folsom. So we moved here because of the quality of life, and if we don't do it, don't take care of these things, definitely we're going to lose our quality of life.
No, absolutely. And I think those are all important issues to look at. I do want to kind of focus in on one really quick. This was something we'd noticed on your campaign website, dealing with traffic congestion in Folsom. We know it's a signature issue of yours, and we had recently seen excuse me, the campaign ad that you'd run for it as well. But it's no secret that a lot of this congestion is, the product of the growth of residents and businesses in Folsom. How do you plan to balance the expansion of Folsom with investing also in city infrastructure as well?
Great question. So if you look at it, that my first ad on the city of on the city's congestion and traffic congestion was about the development that was happening on Folsom Boulevard. They have delayed this multiple times. This whole project was delayed multiple times. It's no secret. And people have been asking me, even online as well, oh, do you think that you can do something when there is no penalties on the in their contracts? You can still pull something and then pull the string and do something about it. And I said, no, I won't be able to do something by pulling the string and doing it. However, I told them that I have one experience which probably most of the people or most of the other candidates, they don't know that. I have worked with the state and local government. I know there is a report called a governor's report that is being issued every month. You do have all those major issues, major things, they come in, and especially all the issues that are being reported, and something that is being highlighted in the media and the people are making noise about it, that actually goes into that report. No department wants that. Nobody wants that kind of a noise. Nobody wants that kind of attention. I was the first one in the, even right now I'm not elected. I was the first one who actually had that. I believe it was only 30-second ad. And right after that, they did announce earlier that this project is gonna be ending or completing in November. However, after that ad, and I'm not saying that I did something else, except that I highlighted it. This was highlighted. This was seen by more than 2,000 or 3,000 people in Folsom. And since definitely the people at the higher up, they also see that those things are something is getting traction. When they saw that one, and the result we have seen, which I'm not claiming that it was because of my video, but I'm saying that right after that, despite the fact they announced that they're going to be doing it, they're going to be completing this project in November. They opened the Folsom Boulevard, which was a major artery that we had, in the month of October. Even if it's few weeks earlier, that was a huge relief. I'll tell you that I have one of the constituent. He sent me a text earlier. He said, "What are you doing? What are you going to do about this Folsom Boulevard construction?" I'm okay, but my wife is not. She's furious about it because this is adding too much time to her daily commute. And I said that was the reason when I heard that, and I said, sure, that would be the first thing. I would just go out and then I will make a video and make everyone aware of that one. And right after that, he called me and said that, oh, I'm glad. I don't know if you did it or somebody else did it, but it worked now. So that's all we need. As a representative of your city, you should be representing the voice of your constituents, and that's exactly what I did.
Got it. Thank you. Turning to another issue that you've mentioned, especially when you were introducing yourself, homelessness in the city of Folsom. Your campaign website articulates that you would address this through empowering organizations such as the Homeless Assistance Resource Team, otherwise known as Heart of Folsom.
Right.
How would you go about empowering organizations like that? Is it through funding, greater collaboration, or something else?
Great question. So that is Heart of Folsom is just one of those organizations. We have a Heart of Folsom. We have American Muslim Boys. We have Jake's Journey Home. We have Powerhouse Missionaries. Those are all the different organizations we have. Lot of time what happens that people don't even, they are not aware of the fact that these organizations exist. They are not collaborating with each other. So what I would like to do is that, for example, I was talking to the hot team, homeless outreach team of Folsom Police Department. So we have that team now. That team already know, for example, if they see that there is a homeless family or there's a homeless person over there who needs some help, and they reached out to Jake's Journey Home, and then Jake's Journey Home, they actually tried to help that person. Then they were able to successfully move that person out of the streets and then to a home. There was one less person on the street. That was a great success. Same way, all we have to do is we just need to collaborate. All we have to do is we don't need to really raise funds or do anything on that one. We don't need to. They are great what they're doing, and the last thing I want is the government interfering in their matters. Let them do their job. All we have to do is just make sure that we know that where to collaborate and how to collaborate it. That's exactly what we do. Every year I go to Loaves and Fishes on close to Christmas, actually, especially on a Christmas Eve, and we have a program called Feed the Hungry. We cook ourselves over there. We go there at like 6:30 in the morning, and in that professional kitchen, we cook about 1,000 meals, and then we distribute. People who come over there, and we just feed them. You must have seen my pictures on my website as well. So we do that, and that way we are trying to make sure that they are all the unhoused community. They become an integral part of our society as well. But at the same time, we need to be cognizant of the fact that not all the homeless people, they are okay to receive help. They don't want to. Some of them, or maybe one third of them, I'm just loosely using that word, one third, may say that we don't need any help from you. You cannot help someone who does not want any help, but at least the remaining number of people, you can reach out to them, you can help them a little bit. But at the same time, we also need to be aware of the fact that homelessness is not a crime, but there are some criminal elements within the homeless community. We need to make sure that we are very careful while helping, and at the same time while bringing anyone, a homeless person over there in our society, and making sure that they are not from those criminal elements. They are not the ones who are harming our children, our families, our community members. That's very important. Homeless population in Folsom has increased more than 200% over the past few years. Whereas as per one of the calculation in the city of Sacramento, they have started seeing the homelessness started going down. So we need to ask this question: what exactly are we doing wrong, and then they are doing right, that this effect is there? And one of the main issue that we have is, while we are trying to solve the homelessness, while we are trying to address this issue, who is paying for that one? I don't want my taxpayer money to go to that cause. I want my taxpayer money to be spent on the police, on the parks, on fire department and education, of those areas. And what exactly can we do? We can still go to the county and the state and get our fair share of homeless population from them, and then we can use those funds to address their issues. So that in that way, we don't have Folsom residents should not be burdened to pay for that community. And that's exactly where my experience comes very handy, because I have experience working with the state and local government, which other people have not done that yet.
Well, thank you so much, Gul. It's homelessness can be a sensitive subject, and so we definitely appreciate, your experiences and perspectives on that one. I did want to shift gears a little bit, kind of, leaning off of your experience in IT. We were curious, last year the city manager's proposed budget included a new fund for IT at the city level, which ultimately, the city council did reject. We wanted to understand, maybe in this situation, do you agree that that was the right decision? Why or why not?
That's a great question. A lot of people ask me this question, and they were expecting me that I should be just saying, yeah, no, there should be some budget allocated for IT. IT is a supporting area. So anything that you do, for example, IT is an integral part of every single division that the government operates. You take the example of a police. We have our smart license plate readers. We are using them. We have smart cameras. All those are run by IT. We have smart monitoring systems that are run by IT. You go to Folsom Fire Department. Fire Department has all the communications and everything is being done through the AT&T as well. So all those communications that are part of the IT, and then they have their own scheduling and everything is being done automatically. All the other departments as well. These are the just two examples I gave you. They have IT component of that one. So allocating just the IT overall does not make any sense. And I'm not saying that because the IT is going to be too much. In some areas, it might be if you allocate certain amount for IT, it may not be enough. So you may need actually more money for IT rather than less money. That's why IT should not be considered just as standalone as an IT budget. The budget should be allocated for a project, and that project should have a component of an IT, how much, whatever is the needed. And because I run the IT systems for the state and local government, I know how much budget they have to allocate. Sometimes, for example, I'll give you one example is that if you are if you have to build a bridge, we are not going to be saying that, hey, give us an IT budget and we're going to build you a virtual bridge. We're going to give a civil engineers that material and everything so that they can actually build a bridge. However, for all those calculations you have to do, they're going to use the AutoCAD and other designing tools that are provided by the IT. So that's why in overall budget, you need to have some money allocated for IT, but that goes from project to project rather than having just the IT budget for the city.
No, definitely appreciate that, especially given, the critical nature of Folsom's city budget. It's always valuable to learn, from people who have that experience.
Thank you.
Our last question that we have for you today, before we give you an opportunity to talk about anything we may have missed in our coverage, is specifically regarding your time volunteering for the Folsom Community Engagement Response Team. How has doing that and interacting with the people of Folsom in that way shaped your views of the issues in Folsom, as well as develop your vision for the city?
I'm glad you asked me question. It's called Folsom Community Emergency Response Team, CERT. And it's interesting that I did not even know about 10 years ago that there is some sort of a team that exists. It's called CERT team. It happened that I was driving my son on a Friday night, a late night to back home. He was having a sleepover. He was literally about 4 or 5 years old at that time. I was driving him back home, and I saw on Folsom Boulevard there was a car coming right at me, running head on to me, and I realized that, oh my God, this is somebody is driving against the traffic. So I traffic flow. Then I changed the lane immediately, and so I narrowly escaped that a head-on collision. I called 911 right away, and I said somebody is actually driving on the opposite side of the Iron Point, and right now it's gonna hit someone, and something bad is gonna happen. And while I was on a call with the operator at 911, I heard a big crash sound, and then I told them that, okay, now somebody has must have been injured over there, so please send some help. I gave them the details and I pulled over. I got out of it. I was very emotional at that time because I literally, in a split second, I changed my lane and I escaped that accident. I opened the rear door of my car. My son was sleeping over there, and I hugged him very emotionally. And then immediately I ran to the crash site. Over there, I saw there was another off-duty police officer. He was driving back home, and he also stopped over there. And he and we both pulled the people from the other car out because there was a gas spill all over the road, and we were afraid that they might catch some fire. And we would try to actually even pull the person who actually was the culprit, who was the one who was driving against the traffic. And in the meantime, the fire department arrived and they took over. I stepped aside, and then the next morning, one of my friend, he was also a volunteer with the Folsom PD in CAPS program. I asked him this question. I said, Greg, what happened to that accident? Do you know about the details? And he said, yeah, I heard that the lady who was driving that car, she could not make it. That devastated me. The reason was I was thinking that I did not have any kind of medical training at that time. Just an engineer, I'm a software engineer. I had no medical training at that time. And I was thinking that maybe if I had even a little bit of training, like CPR or something, I might have saved her. But I had no training. I did not know exactly what to do except that just pulling the people out of the car. And so she could not make it. That was the day when I decided to actually train myself and do something about it. The next thing I know is that I did some search and found out the Folsom Fire Department runs this search program, which is for the people like me who have no training prior to that. So I volunteered, signed up for that one. I did all my training over there. They had a 3 level of trainings. I passed all 3 of them. I became a first responder. I started doing it. That was the thing that, and then after that, I continued to do all this work without really having that now that, okay, now we are doing just a regular training every month. And there is not really a real situation where we ever had to actually use our skills. Until one day when I was flying from San Francisco to London, and we were in the middle of Atlantic Ocean, flying over Atlantic Ocean, and we heard an announcement that is there a medical professional or a doctor on board? And I thought, no, no, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to do anything about it. And then there was another announcement after few more minutes, and then there was a third announcement shortly. And then I asked the air hostess over there, and I said, did you find a doctor? She said, no. Are you a doctor? And I said, I'm not a doctor, but I'm a first responder. She said, come with me. So she took me back to the back of the plane. There was a lady over there. She was unconscious. And she said, well, she introduced me as that I am the one who's a first responder. She said, okay, look at her. And so I just started looking at, I tried to feel the pulse. I could not see that. So I started doing the CPR right away. And after that a little bit of after a few minutes or so, she revived and she started breathing and all that as well. And I was relieved that this happened. That actually tells me that I'm not very religious person, but at the same time, I'm a big believer that God sometimes puts you where you're supposed to be. The training I took about 6 years ago that helped me save that life 6 years later. I had no idea that at that time this is going to happen, but it happened. Uh, and I was thinking that this is really a great thing to do, a great way to use your training. And that's it. After that, I never used that. I never had to use that training again. Thank God nobody is that much, in need for that. But that's exactly how it brought me to that training. I became a first responder. And during the COVID or close to COVID, then I was not able to continue and keep up with my training hours and all that. So I had to quit CERT at that time because after that, my nature of my job changed. But I'm grateful what I've learned from over there. This was a great. They were Folsom Fire Department is these are the finest people I have ever met. And Jake the City, who was my trainer over there, Jim Surrey, he was also one of my trainer. I think Jake is still there with running that program. He's a great guy. I always say that I owe him all that I have learned from him.
Gul,
Sorry.
thank you so much for sharing about that. Those are incredibly powerful stories. We're grateful that you feel comfortable, sharing that here on the podcast. Um, and then I'm certain that's shaped a lot of, maybe not just even like, perspective at like, the city level, but at a life level. Those are powerful,
Certainly.
powerful events. Well, I really just want to kind of open it up to you at this point. If there's anything else you wanted to tell our listeners that they'd like to know that we haven't really covered with our questions yet, or about you or your campaign, now is the time to do so.
Thank you, man. I just want to, first of all, thank you, both of you, for inviting me to your podcast. To all the Folsom residents, listeners, I want to say one thing that I hope that in this election, you find the courage to change something that you have been doing over and over again for the past few years or many years, and it did not make a difference in your life. I know that a lot of people say that you are a newbie. A lot of people say that you um, are very new person in this whole political arena, and there are people who are coming in with the big endorsements and all, and big lot of big checks, and I did not. Still, I was able to raise more money at the grassroots level. That tells you that how incredible integrated I am with the overall the community of Folsom at the grassroots level. If you want change in your life, if you want change in the city, the way the city is being run, if you want new and innovative ideas, the way the city in the city, the way they are running the city, then I am the only choice that you have. I'm the only person in this race who has experience working with the state and local government across 28 different state departments. No other candidate in this race has worked at the breadth of that one. And in order to become a city council member, you don't have to be just in one area that you are expert in law enforcement. I'm sure that you can do a good job as a law enforcement officer. But in order to become a city council member, you should also learn how to eat and digest and understand and run the budgets, the numbers. You should be able to have the experience how to hire people at the CEO level of the company. The one of the top, if not top 10 priorities that we have in for the new council members, one of them is gonna be to hire new city manager. She's retiring. The current city manager, Elaine, she's was done a great job for so many years for Folsom. She's retiring, and we need to hire her replacement. How many of these members have experience hiring at the CEO level of that? City manager is considered the CEO level person who's going to be managing about 500 employees across multiple divisions and will be managing multi-million dollar budgets programs. How many of these other candidates have that experience? I'm the only candidate who has done that. My track record, my background is very clear to you. So yes, I am not coming with very big endorsements, which you see that right now. I'm not even gonna be involving myself in those smear campaigns that the other two candidates are doing against each other. I am just presenting my view. I'm just presenting what my capabilities are, and then the choice is very clear to you. And that's exactly why I'm respectfully asking for your vote on November 5th, or even now. Please go out, vote early as well as you if you can, and vote for me. And if you have any questions, you can always go to my website, khanforfolsom.com, or my YouTube channel, my Instagram, or my Facebook page as well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Gul. We really appreciate your time, and we'll catch you all next time.
Sure. Thank you very much.